Hello viewers, and welcome to Time with your banker and financial advisor. We've been discussing issues with the central bank, that is Bank of Ghana, for the past weeks. Today we have Mr. Augustine Amoako Donkor, Head of Conduct Supervision Unit of Financial Stability Department of Bank of Ghana. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thank you for watching Time with your banker and financial advisor. Mr. Donkor, thank you for honoring our invitation.
My pleasure.
You are here today. You've been here before.
Sure.
But today we are discussing credit reporting. Can you give us a brief of credit reporting?
Okay, thank you. So in the past, our banking system recorded several instances of situations where bank customers will borrow money from financial institutions and will unfortunately willfully default. So what happened was people will move from one bank to the other or from one financial institution to the other, take monies as loans, but will most of the time deliberately refuse to pay. Now, unfortunately, this irresponsible behavior on the part of the customers was helped by the absence of any effective system that would enable the service providers communicate amongst themselves on the issue of the credit history of such borrowers. Okay. So because they had nothing to refer to, it enabled these irresponsible borrowers to move from institution to institution to perpetrate this act, which did not help the system. Okay. Now, let's take a situation where you apply for a facility from a financial institution. Let's say you are invited for a meeting on your application, and then the bank or that financial institution tells you that we are sorry, your application cannot be approved, and the reason is because you are indebted to this bank or this financial institution, or due to your poor repayment behavior that has come to our notice. I am sure that this loan applicant will be surprised and will be wondering how this institution got to know about this fact. He, the borrower, will know that this is the situation. But the question is, how did this institution, how did this bank or this financial institution get to know about this? Now, this is the system that we are going to talk about today. Okay, the credit reporting system. That is what it enables the system to achieve. So, when we talk about the credit reporting, it is a financial infrastructure. It is a system that enables information about borrowers to be shared among the lenders, such that the lenders are now able to have access to the credit history of loan customers to enable the financial institutions do a good appraisal of the applications that such people come with, to enable them have an assessment of the credit worthiness of these borrowers. So that is basically what credit reporting is about. It's just a system that enables information sharing. What information are we sharing? We are sharing information about the credit history, including repayment behavior of people who are applying for loan facilities. Okay, so once this information is shared, the credit providers have access to it. So once you apply for credit, they will know your history, assess the probability of you paying back the money and it will help them to make their decision about your application as to whether to grant it or to decline it. So generally, in simple terms, this is what credit reporting is about, and I'm sure in due course we will get to learn more about how it works.
What prompted Bank of Ghana to come up with this kind of program?
Yes. So as I indicated, if default rates are not checked, it doesn't help the system. Let us start from this angle. The monies that financial institutions give out as loans are not free monies. Indeed, a chunk of these monies does not belong to these lenders. These are monies that the institutions have borrowed from elsewhere, added to monies that individuals, entities have given them in the form of deposits, okay, which are added and then given out as loans. What this means is that these lenders will need to ensure that these monies are returned, they are paid back by the borrowers so that they can also put them back at where they picked this from, or be able to give them out as loans again for the institution to continue.
Mr. Donkor, let me cut you here. I think you need to hammer this area very well, because Ghanaians, we have this habit of borrowing and not paying.
I mean, it is true, and that is why we are happy when we have opportunities like this to educate people. So, like we requested, again, and we have had instances at our sensitization programs where some people have actually expressed surprise about the fact that the monies that are given out as loans by financial institutions are not DS. Okay, people have come to complain about the way and manner financial institutions come after them when they are not paying. Yes, okay, and then they wonder why a big bank or a big financial institution with supposedly millions of cedis will come chasing them for 2,000 and 5,000. If I don't pay this 5,000, what happens to this bank? Why can't you let me alone?
Money.
You know, but when the education goes that the monies that these institutions give out doesn't belong to them. As we are saying, it comes from the deposits that all of us have given to the financial institutions to keep. It also includes other funds that the institutions themselves have gone out to borrow. Okay, financial institutions borrow amongst themselves. Some borrow from other financial institutions within and even outside the countries. These funds would have to be collected and then paid back. Okay, if these funds are not paid back because borrowers fail or refuse to pay, it hurts everybody. It hurts other potential borrowers, business people who may have love to borrow monies. It hurts the institutions, the lenders, the financial institutions, okay, because it is so bad on their operations. It will affect virtually everything, their liquidity, their solvency, and it can actually bring a financial institution down. And it even hurts the general agenda of the government to develop if funds are not available for business people, because those who have taken loans are not repaying. So it is loan repayment is a very serious issue. And as usually we talk about the rise of borrowers, we want everyone to know that as borrowers, there's also a responsibility to pay back whatever monies that are taken from banks. So loan repayment is very, very crucial, and it will have to be given all the attention that it requires. This system, credit reporting, as I indicated, came about because the central bank wanted to, first of all, reduce loan default rates. Now, one big challenge that financial institutions face in granting out loans is determining whether the loans that are going out will be coming back. In other words, the repayment. Okay, it is very difficult to determine whether the person picking up the loan will indeed bring it back. You do all your assessment, all the appraisals, whatever, but you can never be sure. And that is one big tax that face creditors, financial institutions in lending. So if default rates are to be reduced, what we seek to do is to ensure that right from the beginning, the loans goes or gets into the hands of people that we are sure will bring them back, okay, based on a few things that we look at. And the whole idea is this: if you are a borrower who has a history of defaulting on loans, and then you now come to this financial institution to apply for a facility, then chances are that based on your history, you are not likely to repay. What it means is that the current institution that you are seeking the facility from may decline you. And that is what we would want to do, so that in the end, the default rates will go down. However, if you have a very positive history, a very good history of taking loans and then making payments, then anywhere you go to ask for facilities, based on the history you have, the very positive history that you have, you are likely to be given the loans because you have a good history, and we expect that it is going to continue. So that is how the system works. So the information that is picked about borrowers' background, about borrowers' credit activities, about their repayment behavior, this system called credit reporting ensures that it is shared in a regulated manner amongst lenders, such that everywhere you go, everywhere a borrower goes, this information about them is available. The institutions can always refer to them, determine whether they are negative or positive, and then find out whether they can do business with you because of the credit worthiness that this information will help them to determine. So basically, that is how the system works, the credit reporting system.
How many credit reports offices do we have so far?
So the credit reporting system in Ghana is governed by the Credit Reporting Act, Act 726, that was promulgated in 2007. This act mandates Bank of Ghana to license, supervise, and regulate credit bureaus in Ghana. Currently, the Bank of Ghana has licensed 3 credit bureaus, which are all in operation in the country. The first one is called XDS Data Ghana Limited, and then we also have another credit bureau that is known as Dun and Bradstreet Credit Bureau, and then the third one that has been licensed is Hassan Price Data Solutions Limited. So these are the 3 credit bureaus that have been licensed and operating in the system.
What kind of information are they looking for, these credit bureaus?
Okay, so as we have indicated already, credit reporting is basically about information sharing. Okay? And to be able to share information, you first need to gather same. Now, the credit bureaus that we refer to, that we said Bank of Ghana has licensed, these are business entities. They are specialized business entities whose core function is to collect data about borrowers, people who have borrowed in the system. Okay, so they collect this data. They use their systems, their very sophisticated IT systems, to process this data and then generate reports. Okay, particularly there is one that we will talk about as we move on. They generate what we call a credit report about individual borrowers, business entities borrowing and stuff like that. The information that they collect from the financial institutions and other public sources are basically of 2 forms. We have the demographic or the personal information about the individual or the entity borrowing, and then the financials. The personal information contains everything about the borrower. If it's an individual person, your name, your gender, your date of birth, your telephone number, residential address, basically everything about you. If it is a corporate entity, the name of the enterprise, the business registration address, business registration number, location, information about directors, and stuff like that. So everything about the that business concern is collected. Then when we come to the financials, this is where we pick information about the credit facility that you have taken. So the institution that you're taking the facility from, that is the lender, the name is given. And then how much loan you are taking, the amount is given, the tenor of the loan, the repayment schedule, when you're supposed to be paying, how much you're supposed to be paying on such dates. If there are guarantors, we give out information on the status of the loan at various stages and stuff like that. So virtually every information that is helpful about the facility that you have taken is picked. So these two pieces of information, the personal and then the financials, that on the loan, are what are put together on what we call the credit report. So when you pick a credit report of a borrower, this is the kind of information that you are going to see. And then the information is updated on monthly basis because per the law that I refer to, the Act 726, financial institutions are supposed to provide data to the credit bureaus to update whatever information that they have about borrowers already. So on monthly basis, and as and when required, financial institutions would submit data on borrowers. So what means that they will submit a report on their entire loan portfolio to the credit bureaus, which the bureaus will use to update the records of the individual borrowers. Okay, so over time, a history is built. If you have picked a loan which requires that every month you pay over a 12-month period, because of the reports that the financial institutions have given the credit bureaus, your credit report will indicate how you have fared in terms of the repayment. Did you pay for each month? If you did, were they on schedule? Did you pay the required amount and stuff like that? Okay, so at any point in time, when we pick your credit report, there is ample information about you to enable potential lenders have a look at it and then determine your credit worthiness in terms of as to whether they can approve loan facilities for you or not. Okay, so that is the part that credit reporting plays when it comes to loan administration.
So in effect, you are saying that this bureau was set up to assess the credibility of borrowers.
So as I indicated, for the credit bureaus, they will gather the information about the borrowers from financial institutions or lenders, other sources, and then generate this credit report. Then upon request, it is shared with interested lenders, financial institutions. So it is the information that has been shared that the financial institutions are going to use, to help them assess the standing, okay, or the credit worthiness of the potential borrowers. So it is not, institutions will not only do this profiling only in terms of the credit reports. There are other things that they do. They will call for so many documents, review and stuff, but the credit reporting bit is also added to it to enable them make a decision on your credit worthiness. So the credit reporting is basically to provide information about a borrower's credit history or credit repayment Yeah, which is added information to enable the lenders make a determination on borrower's credit worthiness.
So if a borrower defaults, what happens?
Yes. So if a borrower picks a loan and then defaults on the repayment, the lender would report this to the credit bureaus. Now, the bureaus would update the credit report of this defaulting borrower with this piece of information. What it means is that if this defaulting borrower in the future should move on to another institution to seek credit, this new institution will now refer to the credit report of this borrower, and all the defaults that were made on the previous loans will be shown on the report, so that this new lender will now have an idea about how this borrower performed during the previous credit, to enable them make some assessment about you. Okay, it will help them to properly profile you, and then to make a decision as to whether to give you the loan. Even if they want to go ahead to give you the loan, it will help them to properly price the facility based on your character. Or if they decide that based on the history that they have, which they think is negative, they are not prepared to deal with you, then that
how
will
can
be it.
interested persons access these credit reports?
So the Bank of Ghana encourages everyone, particularly borrowers, to regularly assess their credit reports. Now, this will enable people to determine whether the information on the credit report is accurate or otherwise. If it is not accurate, it affords them the opportunity to now take measures to correct the discrepancies or inaccuracies on the credit report. What we have realized is that people or entities may not assess their credit reports to do this assessment, but may wait till when they need credit facilities. Now, if during the process of appraising credit applications, it comes out that your credit report is negative, it doesn't contain good information about you, but perhaps this is not the true situation, okay? What will happen is that your application is going to be delayed because the institution may want to find out the true situation before they decide. So during the period that the institution is going to hold on for steps to be taken to correct whatever errors are on your report, by the time it is done, perhaps it may have taken time, and then the purpose for the loan may be affected. Yeah. So we encourage people to regularly take measures to assess their credit reports.
Are these reports always accurate?
So from complaints that we have received from members of the public, the answer is no. We've come across several situations where people have complained that information recorded on their credit reports is not accurate. Now, there may be various reasons for this. The accuracy of a credit report could be affected in a situation where data providers, that is the financial institutions or lenders, do not submit to the credit bureaus accurate data on the borrowers, or the data they send to the credit bureaus may be accurate but may not be prompt, may not be timely. In this situation, the timeliness is also very, very key. Yeah. So, for instance, where a borrower has liquidated a loan, you have completely or fully paid up facility, but the lender, maybe the bank or the financial institution, has not reported same to the credit bureaus, on the credit report of that borrower, it will still stay. Okay, to still give the impression that this borrower is still indebted to this bank. Yeah, so that is one where the report has not been sent, or perhaps at the time that the credit report was being extracted, the report had not been sent. Okay, so in this case, the report will not give an accurate picture of the reality. Okay, it can also happen that the report has gone, but the report that was sent did not reflect the actual situation. Okay, certain repayments, amounts that have been paid, may have been missed by the lender or the financial institution, or there may be some errors in the report that was sent. So from the lender's perspective, from the lender's angle, errors could be introduced on borrowers' credit reports. It is also possible that delays on the part of the credit bureaus in updating information about borrowers, okay, using data that has been submitted to them by financial institutions, can also introduce errors.
If one pays off his or her loan, how does it get recorded?
Good. So per the regulations, anytime a loan is completely paid off, and especially if it is paid off ahead of time, the lender is supposed to send information to the credit bureaus within 72 hours. So anytime a loan is paid off, within 72 hours, the information is supposed to be sent to the credit bureaus for the borrower's reports to be updated.
Any advice to the public?
Yeah, so the advice that I will give is that, first of all, borrowers should take the issue of loan repayments seriously, okay? Because now, per this system, if you default on your loan repayments, you are going to face a Herculean task if in future you go to another credit financial institution for a facility, because this will be captured in your credit report. Then secondly, we will encourage everyone to go check on their credit report. As indicated, it is the first time it is free, and then subsequently you just pay a token. And the idea is for you to ensure that the information on the report matches what you know in reality. In other words, there are no errors on the report. Where there are errors, then you have to take steps to have them corrected. And what you do is you first contact the financial institution or the bank that gave you the loan, report to them, and then the process will start from there. Where, depending on the nature of the complaint, you may also contact the credit bureaus to enable them help with the correction. If you are not satisfied with the help given you by the credit bureaus, the lenders, you can always escalate the complaint to the Bank of Ghana, and then you'll intervene to help correct whatever situation there is on your credit report.
In these COVID times, I hear you don't encourage lots of people to come to Bank of Ghana. Can they call in, or is there a website that they can lodge their complaints?
Yes, so where you can stay home and then still communicate with us to have your complaint resolved, we encourage it. You can call, you can send an email, you can write if you want to, and then we will follow it up. Where the situation is such that it will need you to visit us physically, you are also welcome. We'll take the complaint and then we will follow up for you.
Thank you, Mr. Amoako, Mr. Augustine Amoako Donkor, for honoring our invitation. Thank you for coming on the show. Viewers, this is where we'll end today's Time with Your Banker and Financial Advisor. Thank you for watching us. I'm your banker, Betty Ayi. See you same time next week.